Hey, welcome aboard. This episode is about my first successful overnight anchor on San Paquita. I did this at East Head in Chichester Harbour on the first day of February when temperatures got down to 2 degrees C, that's 35 F. I was greeted by the most amazing sunrise after 14 hours of darkness, and I'd kept warm through the night with plenty of layers of clothing, a thermos of tea, and even a barbecue dinner on my boat, but more on all that later. This story really begins between Christmas and New Year when I tried to spend the night at anchor off Pilsey Island in Chichester Harbour. My anchor dragged back into the channel at around 10:30 at night, and I decided the safest thing to do was head back to Chichester Marina in the dark rather than reset the anchor. I had loads of feedback on that video. See the link below if you want to watch that video now. Fundamentally, I did not have enough chain on my boat to counter the current, and I had an older style CQR anchor which was less than ideal. Thanks for all the advice in Facebook and here on YouTube. I listened and replaced all of that with my new Rockner 15 kilogram anchor, 50 meters of 8mm chain, and added 30 meters of 14mm rode. So I'm all set up now for my cruising goals of exploring the south coast of the UK, the Channel Islands and northern France. I made short videos of me setting all of that up over the past few weeks, including sleeping on the boat during Storm Awen, so please take a look at the links for those videos below too. Now in this video, I'm off to try my new anchoring setup at East Head, a spit of land opposite Pilsey Island, near where I tried to anchor before. East Head is a unique and dynamic sand dune system recognised as a site of special scientific interest. Renowned for its stunning natural beauty, East Head serves as an essential habitat for rare wildlife and vegetation. This treasured spot not only provides a serene escape for visitors, but also acts as a vital natural barrier protecting the coastline from erosion and flooding. I've spent many happy days at nearby West Wittering with my children when they were growing up, and it's great to now be visiting this part of the country by boat. Here's a Google map showing East Head, circled in red, so you can see its position in the Solent. And here's a Google map showing Chichester Harbour with East Head circled red, Pilsey Island circled blue, and my home marina circled yellow. I decided to anchor at East Head and not Pilsey Island this time because of the wind direction, so let's take a look at that. This is an image from the Windy app for 6 AM on the morning that I woke at anchor. The winds had been in this direction the day I got there and overnight too, and got very blustery during the darkness. With winds from the south and southeast, I didn't want to anchor at Pilsey Island as this would be a lee shore where the wind would be blowing me onto the coastline. Any problems and I could have ended up on the beach. With East Head, at least the wind would blow me off the shoreline. The route from Chichester Marina to East Head is very simple. Just follow the channel through the moored boats all the way and then anchor up. A trip of just less than an hour. To make things as simple as possible, I plan to arrive at high tide, so this time I would be confident on maximum depth and therefore know how much chain to put out to avoid dragging like last time. I actually got to East Head about an hour after high tide in the end, so I had to factor in some tidal drop. I planned to anchor around the White Cross at 2 meters of depth at sharp datum, thinking the dunes would give me some cover from the wind, but in the end it was too rolly there with breaking waves, so I ended up dropping the anchor around the red circle location. I figured wind was better than swell, given I wanted to get some sleep. There was a tidal range of 4.5 meters on that day as we were at spring tides, so I knew that if I anchored in at least 6 meters of water, as measured on my depth gauge, then I would have plenty of water even at low tide. So let's get into the adventure. So I anchored up off East Head, here I am, successfully, I think. The anchor's successful, whether it holds is to be seen. I applied all the lessons from before. Time will tell, right? And then I got in and my full up battery when I left had run out, so I don't even know if I caught it for you. But what I did was I was going to anchor down there because I thought East Head would give me more cover from the wind that's coming out from over there. But as I was mooching around, just thinking about it, there was quite a swell coming in, and you can see it in the form of these breakers over there. So I headed round. I thought I'd rather have a bit more breeze in my face than a rolly night, so I headed round. There are these two green cans around the other side of East Head. I think this pretty much dries out in low tide, as I remember, and they're not lit, so I'm not going to be able to see them at night. And basically I went almost midpoint between them and then into this little creek until I hit 6 meters, because it was now about 20 minutes after high tide. I know I needed 5.5 meters to give myself a meter spare, so I still got loads of spare. And then I scarpered up the front and laid my chain, and because it's 6 meters, 6 7s are 42, I've got 50 meters of chain. I thought I'd just pretty much put most of it out, especially as there is going to be a breeze tonight, especially after 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. and also it does get quite a strong current here. And what I'm hoping, so the anchor's over there somewhere, slightly into these two green buoys. What I'm hoping is that because there's always going to be a wind coming from here, it's going to keep me off this green can and that green can. So now the tide's going out, the tide is kind of pushing me this way, the wind's pushing me out, and so I'm away from the beach and away from the green. And I'm hoping at low tide, we'll see, I'll be kind of halfway between them and sticking out in the channel a bit more, and then yes, that's at low tide, and then as the tide starts coming in, I reckon it will carry me down towards that green can, but it'll be in the middle of the night, and I'll still be kept off it by the wind. Another boat's turned up, which is wonderful. They've anchored out a bit further out than me, and there was another boat anchored as I approached, but they've gone now. And I've got my anchor ball up. I need to work out why it's more of an X than a, well, it's more of a kind of cross X than a square X, but now's not the time. I'll take a look at that another day. So the tide is now flowing out. It's I think about 2:45 in the afternoon, so I've got about an hour and a half of light, I think. It is quite windy. I wanted to have a barbecue tonight and I brought a steak. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. We'll have a think about that. But what I am going to do now that I'm anchored, I did a really good anchor test. I hope I caught that on camera. Went up to 1500 RPM, much better than last time. And of course I had this headland and I had the green can, so it was quite easy to do a transit, and it was holding. So we shall see. I think the next thing I need to do is make some soup, because I haven't had lunch, and then think about what next. You know, one of my favourite channels is Kent Survival. I'm wondering if we should do a collab, because that man can cook. Lovely sound of water running past. I've got my anchor light up. I'll leave my anchor ball up. Pretty close now to the shore here at East Head. Some neighbours who are anchoring over there have gone ashore in a dinghy. And yeah, it's just gone 5. Must be a couple of hours till low tide still. Let's eat. Let me show you the barbecue setup on Sampaguita. Top right on here you can see like a black clasp around the rail. That is the mounting bracket for the barbecue, which I can then just slide onto that whenever I want. It hangs over the starboard quarter of the boat, so it's well away from all of the kind of canvas and the dam buoy that's there and things like that. I can put in a disposable cartridge for it, which is the top center picture, and light it and cook and then just let it cool off there, and it's all very safe. And then in the morning when it was cold I could take it down, and because you don't want that hanging over the boat, certainly not when you're going back through Chichester Marina Lock. And here's the food. It was a delicious steak and a couple of sausages, and I had some spare sausages left for breakfast. I strongly recommend getting a boat barbecue like this. It's fantastic. Hey, it's 2 a.m. and I've just been outside to attend to something. For the last hour it's been really rolly, so I was woken by all the various noises and things knocking against each other as they do, like this table next to me, just this little, that kind of noise. And then I heard a clang outside and I thought I'd better investigate, and it was the that lantern that I showed you, the battery powered LED lantern that was up the mast on a halyard. And I thought I'd kept it away from the mast, but I think in this swell and rocking and rolling, it must have slapped the mast, I think, because the battery compartment had basically shattered and dropped out. That's what I had heard. I had another light with a handle on top, battery driven, and so I went out very carefully, put my jacket and my life preserver on, and went out very carefully to the front of the boat and hauled down the last halyard and swap lights and hauled this one up, all very carefully. It's now about 2 a.m, so that should be high tide. I'm hoping that as the currents change and reposition the boat and the water drops over the next few hours, the boat will be a bit more steady, because it is blowing about, well, the windy says about 20 knots coming through the Solent and over into the harbour, but the land should be protecting me, so it shouldn't be as windy as that actually here. But it's enough to make this slightly more spicy than I had expected. So enjoying it. Didn't really want to have to go out, but that turned out okay. And let's try and get a few more hours sleep. It's nearly dawn. Here's East Head. And then I've got this buoy that's kept me company the whole time I've been here. I'm a bit closer to it than I wanted, but I haven't been closer than this, and I have been further away. So that's East Head behind it, and then here is that little inlet that I know dries. In my head the anchor must be pretty close to the edge of that water, and yet I did drop it in deeper than 6 meters on a 4.5 meter tide swing. So in theory, shortly, like in 20 minutes or so after I've had some coffee and warmed up a bit, I should be able to pull myself forward, pulling the chain up pretty close to that landmass, lift the anchor, and this wind that you could probably hear that's in my face right now will then push me back away from the land, and I can get away. And if not for any reason, then I'll sit there on a short bit of chain, which won't matter because I'm not waiting for high tide. Right, it's 2 degrees and you can feel there's a nasty wind, so I'm gonna go in and have some coffee and warm up for 20 minutes, but I will get the engine warm. Welcome to Sunday morning. That way, so towards Portsmouth, Hayling Island and so on. There's East Head, nice and close. This green can that's been on my starboard midships all night is almost, well, it's off the starboard bow now because it's low tide. The current has dropped almost to zero. The wind from over there is dominating and has lined up the boat. So this is a good time pulling the anchor. At least I'm only going to be pulling against the wind and not the tide, but only if I get going now. And here comes dawn. My anchor, I think, is somewhere over near that mudflat. So this will be interesting. If I run aground, I'll just wait and the water will now come in and lift me. I've got a feeling, because I think I dropped the anchor in 6 meters on a 4.5 meter tidal swing. I've got a feeling this will work. I'll pull up the anchor very close to that mudflat and the wind will just pull me back, and I need to be careful that I don't drift into that boat there. So let's do this. What do I need here? Nothing really. Tiller down, engine on and in idle. It says I'm in 6 meters here. Let's go do this. If in doubt, I can just stop. I guess I ought to bring down the anchor ball and light. This I ended up relashing at 2 AM. So when my first light hit the mast and the battery, I'll have to have a look at what damage was done, but somehow the batteries ended up somewhere. I don't think they're on the boat. Snubber's still holding it, which is rather nice. So this is going to get quite hard work. Excuse my huffing and puffing in advance. There's my braid. Snubber. I wonder if I can go out here without losing a shoe. So there's my yellow. That's 40 meters out. I'll just let the boat catch up. Can you hear those birds? Sun's just coming up. Oh, it's easy. It's easy once the boat is brought up. There's blue. 35. There's green, that's 30. Boat swinging around, heading to where I thought I laid it, which was somewhere over there. There's 25. Let's just let the boat catch up. Yeah, it's taken me down away from that buoy. Now, one thing I've realised is I haven't brought up a rope to secure the anchor. So while I've still got lots of chain down, I'm going to go and do that. Get that. I've got it ready, I just didn't bring it up the front. Now, where was I? Let the boat swing. That's 15. Still holding. Better get on my feet. That's 10. Close to that land. Last bit. Off the surface, I think. See the anchor. Get rid of some sand. Swing it. First step is secure. We're coming around. Slowly, everything's slow, it's nice. It's fine. Little workout in the morning. And we're in 5 meters ahead. Oh. heading out. Let's head out perpendicular for safety. That anchor was held in beautifully. It is good holding here, so I've heard from Tinternet and from my dad, who's a blooming expert. I'm sure I didn't need that much chain out, but it was fine. What a beautiful morning. Especially when the sun peaks between the clouds. So we're getting close back to Chichester Marina now. This is the last of the moored boats. I can see a rowing boat ahead, so I'll just keep an eye out for that. Oh, that sun's got some heat. Oh. It is only 3 or 4 degrees, I guess, so anything feels hot. I don't know if they've seen me. Morning. That's all right. No, it's no problem. Don't worry, I would have got out the way. So they thought I was fixed. And of course they have right away. But they were zigzagging a bit, so it wasn't quite clear whether they'd see me or not. I thought I'd go down and get my horn, and I could have just given them a toot, or technically I think I could have given them 5 toots, which means I'm unclear about your intentions. But they looked round and saw me. I went off channel, had enough water, and obviously I put myself into idle, not even tick over, just idle, so that I slowed down. And actually, by making the big movement, it made it clear I wasn't fit, I wasn't moored up. So sometimes big movements do help show people what's going on. Right, there's Birdham. Chichester, this is Sampaguita, over.
Welcome back, Sampaguita, this is Chichester, go ahead, over.
Chichester, Sampaguita, just past the Birdham marker. Request lock-in instructions when convenient, please. Over.
No problem, just continue on your approach. I'll get the gates open for you now and I'll give you a green as soon as I can, over.
Thank you very much, out. Let that speed bleed off. 2 to go. It's going to be a long way down from the edge of the lock. Look at this mud flat here. When I've got my kayak, I come out to this yellow buoy and along this woods and just float sometimes. It's just beautiful. Depth 0.5, below the keel. Still got 2 green lights. What a wonderful, wonderful marina. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you've got a boat down in the Chichester area, please do come and have a look. Amazing facilities, amazing staff. When I'm down working on the boat, I see them patrolling. Tick over. They're always on the lookout, checking lines. They're really great. There's this waiting pontoon if you need it. Looks like the birds use it a lot and need it a lot. And there's some water here. I'm in 1.4 meters, so you can come along here and wait, or like if it's a busy day, you can get your boat ready if you're in the marina and waiting for guests or need to do some preparation. You can join the queue, come out, tie up, and you can receive your guests here or finish provisioning or anything, and then head out, rather than get everything absolutely ready and then find yourself in a bit of a queue. But I've been here near 9 months now, and I've only seen a queue on bank holiday, kind of, or weekends, hot weekends or bank holiday August type time. Idle. well, that's it. I'm back in the marina safely after a night at East Head, and just a beautiful morning pottering around Chichester Harbour and then heading in slowly up to the marina, letting the water get in. Minimum depth I saw below the keel was 0.5 metres. The most surprising thing as I got to the marina is there's surface ice on the water here inside the marina. So I know it was cold last night, but believe it or not, there was like a millimetre, I can see it now, a millimetre of ice on the water. I don't know whether this place is saltwater or brine, because there is some runoff from a marsh. Maybe that affects the freezing point, but that surprised me. Anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you like this content, and I'll keep making it.